Double checking everything's working. All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Peace Mitchell, and I'm a co-founder of Women Changing the World. And I'm so excited to have you all here today. Before we begin, I would like to pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land that I live and work on, the people of Mamu country in North Queensland in Australia. And I would also like to acknowledge and pay my respects to traditional owners and elders right across Australia and the Torres Strait and all over the world as well. So thank you so much. And now I would love to talk to you all about getting noticed by the media. This is the fourth episode in our series where we're getting you ready for the Women Changing the World regional awards that are happening all over the world in all of the major regions of the world. This is the first time that we have done these regional awards in this way. So it's super exciting. And I'm really honored to have all of you here joining me live on in the live stream, but also for everybody watching and joining in on the recording as well. So thank you for being here and being part of it. I have a presentation that I'm going to take you through now, and then at the end of the session, we'll have some time for questions and have a bit of a chat as well. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and get this show underway. All right, so you should be able to see my screen now. We are talking about how to pitch to the media and build a brand that people talk about. Now, PR is incredible. It's such a powerful way for you to amplify your message. So whether you are a business owner or you're running a nonprofit or you're running a social enterprise or you're working in a company, the PR and the media is a great way for you to share the message about the work you're doing, why it matters, and how people can support you and get involved. So this is what I'm going to take you through today. So most businesses are doing incredible things, and charities and nonprofits, social enterprises are doing amazing work. There's women, I know that there are women all over the world working hard behind the scenes, and people don't know about the work they're doing. Or some people do, but they really do need to get their message out to a wider audience. And this is a powerful way that PR can help you do that. It can help you get onto the radio, on TV, into newspapers, magazines, online as well. There's podcasts and blog posts and online articles and features. And all of these different platforms are an incredible way for you to be sharing your message with the world and to be talking about the work that you're doing. So I'm so excited because I know that for some of you, this is completely new. You haven't done this kind of thing. And I also know there are others here who have been in the media and are always looking for new opportunities and new ways to get their message out and share it with new audiences. And this is a great way for you to be really getting the word out and promoting what you're doing with the world. So why is PR important and why does it matter more than ever? I've been in business for a long time now, 15 years, 16 years, I think it is this year. And in the early days of my business, you could put a post up on Facebook and everybody who was following your page would see that post. Everybody would know about what you were doing. If you were holding an event or doing a book launch, you'd put it on your Facebook page. Everyone would see it. They'd all be commenting and liking. It was easy. You didn't even have to have many fans for them to be able to see it. But now, as you all know, the algorithm just hides more and more of the content. And so even your most loyal followers and fans aren't seeing every post that you're doing. And sometimes they're only seeing one a week, one a month, one a year, or they're not seeing it at all. So it's harder and harder to have that visibility now than ever before. And so PR helps you to get out in front of people and connect with people who are reading newspapers, who are listening to the radio, who are watching the TV news, who are engaging with content in other ways. So it's really important, and it's a great way for you to share your story. As well as that, PR is really special because unlike you posting on your Facebook page about what you're doing, PR tells the story about you. It talks about you. It tells the story for you. And that gives an extra level of credibility. When it's someone else talking about the amazing work you're doing and recommending you, it comes across more genuine than if you're just making the claims yourself. Of course, you have to keep making the claims yourself, but when someone else is also helping to say these great things about you, that really helps build that trust and credibility and that recommendation from someone else. So, what journalists actually want? So, this is a really important part of it because we can't just send out press releases everywhere and not be thinking about what are the journalists looking for, because you won't be successful that way. Journalists are like everyone else, they've got a job to do. And many journalists have specific things that they write about or talk about. So if you send your press release, this one was a press release about a lady who bakes cakes. If she had have sent that press release to the guy who does the sports report, is he going to read it or publish anything about it? No, he's not. If she sends it to the cooking people or the women in business section or the weekend that she got in the weekend section, then she's got more chances of being in there. So that's a really important part of it. Thinking about who you're writing to, who you're contacting, what sort of content are they interested in? If you can get that right, then that's a huge hurdle. So it's got to be relevant for the publication itself, but also relevant for that particular journalist if you're writing to, say, a newspaper or a magazine. They're also looking for authenticity. So you don't want your press release to sound like an ad. It has to be heartfelt. It has to be your story, why you were inspired to do the work you do. I know that so many of the women who are part of this community are doing what they do because of something that's happened personally to them in their lives. Like maybe it was a family member who was affected by something, or they went through something growing up, or they're really passionate about supporting people in this way because of something that's happened. And that real connection to the story and to your heart and to who you are is the other thing that journalists are looking for. They're looking for a story. They don't just want to write about an ad or something that doesn't mean anything or matter or have that deeper connection to meaning. They're looking for real life, real stories that their audience can connect to as well. So it's that authentic storytelling that they're looking for. And then, of course, they're looking for the human value. So the journalists are thinking about their audience. It's their job to sell newspapers or to get people watching their show or listening to their podcast. So they're always thinking about what's in it for them as a journalist, but they're also thinking about it, what's in it for my audience? Like, what do they want? What do they want to hear about and learn about and read about? What stories will be interesting to them? So when you're sending your press release to a journalist, think about those things. Is it going to be relevant for that publication and that journalist? Is your story going to be authentic? Are you going to connect with them on a deeper, kind of meaningful way? And is your story going to be relevant for the audience that they're writing for? Is it going to connect with them, inspire them, spark their interest in some way? So those are the things that you should be thinking about when you are approaching the media and talking to them about what you do. So, as I was saying, the media wants real stories, not perfect ones. So, they don't just want to hear the polished version of what you do. They're actually interested in learning about you and your journey. Why do you do what you do? What's happened along the way? What are the challenges you've had to overcome to get to where you are today? What's the impact of the work that you're doing? That's what journalists are looking for. They're looking for the real life story behind the brand if you're a business or behind the charity if you're running a charity. Like, why are you doing what you do? what's the bigger meaning? What's the real story? They're not looking for the perfect polished version that you might write about in a grant application. They're looking for that personality to come through and for your real life story to come through as well. Next slide. So, what is PR? For those of you who haven't done anything in this kind of space before, I'll take you through what PR is. So, PR stands for public relations, and it's the art of managing relationships between your organization and the communities that matter to your success or the wider audience out there. So, it's a way for you to get your message out through the news and magazines and radio and other platforms to a new audience or a wider audience. It's all about storytelling as well. As I've said, it's really telling your story, being authentic and sharing more of the message behind why you do what you do. So it says here, crafting narratives that will resonate with audiences and earn attention through authenticity and not ad budgets. So there's different types of PR. So there's the free PR and then there's paid PR, which is more like advertising. And what we're looking for is free opportunities for you to get your story told, because the media have to come up with content every single day. Every day they're looking for new stories and new content and new things to write about, new people that they can talk about on their platforms. And so if you give them a great story for them to share with their audience, you're really helping them. You're helping them to get that content out there. So don't be afraid to share your story with the media, because you're helping them too. They're helping you share the message, but you're helping them have something interesting to talk about and newsworthy and something for their readers to want to engage in. The other part of it is trust building. And it's really important to talk about the relationship that you are developing with the journalist, but also the relationships that you can be developing with the audience as well. So as a business owner, it's your job to be marketing and promoting and talking about what you do and getting new customers interested in what you're doing. So you're building that level of trust through sharing your story, through taking people through that journey of getting to know you, through hearing why you do what you do, why you're passionate about the work that you're doing. So it's really about building that trust for your audience, your current audience, for new audiences, and also that relationship with the journalists as well. And we'll talk a bit more about that in these slides too. So unlike advertising where you're paying for the space, PR is about earning attention through telling compelling stories that journalists and audiences genuinely want to connect with and share. So that's why PR is so powerful, because it's not a paid ad that anybody could pay for. It's a genuine story. And I think, as for those of you who are small business owners, you are competing often against big businesses with big marketing and advertising budgets. But what you have that some of those big faceless brands don't have is that genuine story behind what you do and why you're passionate about it. So there's ways for you to really make the most of that and leverage that by telling your story. So I just wanted to show you this picture. This is Sylvia Aratin, and she was our Women Changing the World Woman of the Year in London this year in 2025. And she's been on an amazing journey over the last 6 months since we held those awards. And she has become the go-to girl for lots and lots of media outlets. And this isn't just because she won the award. She actually had to, send her press release in, build relationships with the journalist. If they say, we need you on TV today at 10 a.m. and she's got all other things happening, she'll say, all right, I'll be there. And she reschedules everything so that and gets her hair and makeup done and gets into the studio so that she can do PR. But she's got an incredible audience now, and journalists know that they can ring her and get her to come in and do interviews. And she has had several different interviews over the last 6 months because she's been really making the most of her PR opportunities and really building those relationships with journalists. She's also an expert in her field. Um, that matters. And I know that many of you are also experts in your field, but you're not getting these opportunities yet. So this is a great example I just wanted to share with you of how Sylvia has leveraged winning this award and using her expertise to build relationships with journalists and get on TV more than ever before. She's doing really well, and we are so happy for her and so proud of her. And she specializes in early childhood education, Montessori education. So anytime an education story comes up, the media are now calling her and saying, Sylvia, we'd love you to come in and talk about this issue. So that is a really great benefit of building those relationships with the media partners and journalists. Anyhow, this slide's actually about the difference between earned media and paid media. So as I was explaining before, earned media is where you are telling your story in a really genuine and authentic way. And paid media is where you're paying for an ad. And both of these platforms have their place. So of course, there are opportunities for paid media. And with earned media, there's no guarantee that your story is going to be picked up. You might send your press release out to 20 different places and you might not hear back from any of them. And that's really hard. But that's the reality. Whereas with paid media, you pay for an ad, you know that it's going to go in. So I do encourage you, if you've sent out 20 press releases and they're not getting picked up, then think about why not? What do you need to change in your story that's going to make it engaging and interesting for the journalists? I'm also going to talk to you about how to pitch your press release to the journalists as well, because that's important too. All right, next slide. So yeah, as I've been saying, earned media, that's what we're looking for with sending our press releases out to the media. It does give you that credibility, that level of trust, the relationship building. It's great for your own networks and audiences as well. So if you've been featured in the newspaper, sharing a photo of that newspaper article on your social media also gets attention and comments, and everyone will congratulate you and be excited and hopefully share it with their people as well. So it's that level of credibility, and you're able to leverage that as well. So when you're thinking about your story, you think about, there's 3 questions that helps you to really craft a compelling story. So why now? Why are you sending this to the media? How can you connect in a way that's going to be relevant? So timing's really important. For us with these awards, it's important for our nominees and finalists to get those press releases in before the awards are announced. As a finalist, it's a great way to get in the media, and you might also win. But even if you don't win, I've seen finalists get incredible media just by sending their press release in about being a finalist. And so, yeah, don't wait to find out if you're a winner. Start now telling people, letting the media know, and getting that story out there. Why you? So you want to think about what makes you unique, what makes you special, and also, as I was saying before, your story. What is powerful about your story? Your why. Why do you do what you do? What's your calling? What's your purpose? What's the impact? So really focusing on that is important for your media as well, for your story. And then why should people care? So how can you connect to people? How can you inspire people to get involved with you and be part of your cause, or inspire them to think about ways that they can change their lives too? So think about why now, why you, and why people should care. So when you're putting together your press release and your pitch, think about those 3 angles. So these are the 5 steps for how to pitch to the media. So you need a really strong subject line. Now, you guys are lucky. Once we announce finalists, the finalists are given a press release template. So you've already got the subject line, local woman, recognized as a finalist for global awards. So that subject line is already pretty eye-catching, and hopefully the journalist will be like, okay, this sounds interesting. Who is this person? Why are they up for this award? What's the work they're doing? Explain why it matters now. So when you're writing your pitch, so this is the email part that goes with the press release. You attach the press release as an attachment. But in that email body that you send to the journalist, it's short, it's only like a paragraph or two. But because they don't have a lot of time, you've got to really connect with them and give them the information in those 2 paragraphs. So explain why it matters now. Tell them like what the work you're doing is and why it's relevant and matters right now. You want to establish your credibility. So yes, you've got all that information in your press release, but you want to talk about how you're the founder of your organization or you're a senior leader if you work for a company. Establish your credibility in those 2 paragraphs in a brief but very powerful way. So offer value. So you could put a quote in here, something that you've said about your industry or the work that you're doing, so that it's easy for them to share the story. You could also have like data or statistics and weave that into your pitch. And then close with a clear call to action. The example here is, would you like to know more or schedule an interview? I'm available anytime this week. You could say something like that so that if they do want to get on the phone with you, they can ring you up and make a time to get together face to face if you're nearby, or else via Zoom. So make it easy for them as the journalist. They're super busy people. Yes, they've got to create news every day, but they're also really busy and they're getting hundreds of pitches every day as well. So you want to stand out from the crowd and make it easy for them to get in touch with you. So pitches should be under 150 words, so very concise, but make sure you're including really all of those important things as well. So choosing the right media, this is really important. So TV and radio are great. I think the important thing is knowing about your audience and where they are and what kind of media they're consuming. So if your demographic is on Instagram, but they're not on LinkedIn, for example, then your Instagram content is more powerful, more valuable than your LinkedIn content would be. And vice versa. Some people have more of their audience on LinkedIn than they would on Instagram. So it's not worth their while spending time on Instagram because it's more important for them to be building that audience on LinkedIn. Similarly, the media platforms are like that as well. There's some people who your audience might listen to radio but not watch TV, or they might watch the news but not read newspapers, or they're more likely to listen to podcasts than they are to listen to traditional radio. So it is a bit about knowing which of the platforms you can leverage and make the most of. Yeah, so think about that when you're thinking about which journalists to pitch to. We also find that going to your local media rather than national or international media is a really great place to start, particularly if you haven't done any media or PR before. So reaching out to like the local free paper, perhaps that's in your area, the local TV news sometimes picks up stories if you're from like a smaller regional town, the local radio, if it's broadcasting to a local, or maybe community radio is a great starting point for you to get your story out there. So yeah, really think about what kind of publication is right for you. And then, as I was saying before, the right journalist as well. So you don't want to be getting in touch with the sports reporter if your story's about cooking, for example. So really thinking about which journalist is the right one to talk to. And normally it is kind of, it's not too hard to find who the right person is. So you go onto the website and often it'll list all of the journalists. And if you're lucky, it'll also talk about which kind of areas they cover. So yeah, Google is your friend. It's there. Do the research on which journalists you should be sending your press release to. Okay, next slide. So once you have been successful and you've been in the newspaper or on TV or on the radio, don't let that be the end of it. You can keep using this over and over again. So I've seen people have paid ads about when they were doing a TV interview in the media. So really think about how you can really leverage this opportunity and use it again and again. So sharing it across your social media is a great way to do that. That's an easy first step, I think. So sharing it across Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn to your networks, sending out a newsletter to your subscribers about your media as well is a great way to really leverage that opportunity. If you've got an interview scheduled for like tomorrow or next week, letting people know about it now so they can tune in and watch it while it's live before, and then also sharing the link to the recording afterwards as well is really powerful. Using it in your email signatures, on your website, all of those kind of things. Just think about all the ways that you can continue really sharing this message and sharing that media opportunity, because it does give that credibility. If you magically happen to get on CNN or one of those big name media outlets, people pay attention. They do notice things like that. But even smaller publications, people are going to take notice that the media has been interested in your story and have shared your story and talked more about what you do. So, as I was saying, the relationship with the journalist is really important. So, make sure that you thank them after the interview, once the publication's gone live, and also thank them when you're sharing the content on your social media. You can tag the journalists themselves and the publication. It just really simple little things like that really help to build that relationship with those journalists, so that next time when they're like, okay, who can I get to come in and do a story on this? Oh, that's right, we did a story about them earlier. Maybe they've got a fresh insight that they can share in this interview. And so they'll ring you up and you'll get another opportunity. But only if you have kept that relationship going, kept in touch with them, and you're reminding them who you are. So it's really important to build those relationships. So engaging, being helpful, even when you're not pitching. Perhaps you're following the journalist on social media and they do a call out looking for somebody, and you think of a friend or someone you know who might be good for their story, referring that person to them. All things like that are great ways to build that relationship with the journalists and hopefully get you more opportunities down the track as well. Okay, the anatomy of a great story. So you're wanting a headline that hooks, so something interesting that's going to be catchy for the journalist to take notice of. As I was saying, they get hundreds of emails a day. You want to have something that's going to get them interested and excited about what your story is. You want a relatable opening, so information about your story and who you are, and um, yeah, bring some emotion and connection into that. You want to have some data or proof. That can always be really helpful if you've got any statistics or information like that, because journalists love having real facts and fresh data as well. So if you've got anything like that, if you've done surveys or anything like that, that can be super helpful too. The human angle, so really connecting to people around, your story, what's happened to you, what inspired you to do the work that you're doing, and how that's going to connect with the journalist audience as well. And then an authentic quote. So when you're writing in the press release template, I've left spaces for you to put in your own words. Make sure that those quotes are really great. They want to sound authentic to you. You don't want it to sound like it's boring or corporate. It needs to sound like it's written in your voice. And it's something inspiring or emotionally resonant that the journalists can use that as a pull quote, perhaps, Most journalists don't print the press release word for word. I mean, some of them do, but normally they'll rewrite their own story based on what you've sent them. And so if you've got some really beautiful quotes in there in your voice, then they'll often pull those out and use those in their article. So here are some do's and don'ts. So as I said, here are the do's. So research the journalist, make sure you know who you're sending your information to. Don't just send it out to like the info at the Herald Sun. Make sure you do the research and find who's the right journalist that you should be connecting with and talking to. Tie into current events where you can. This can be really powerful. So if you can connect your story to things that are happening right now. As I was saying about Sylvia before, she talks about early childhood education. So whenever something's happening, politically with early childhood, or the media is doing a story on early childhood education, it's a great time for her to send in a press release and say, hey, I can talk about this if you want my angle and perspective. So tying to current events is a great way to capture journalists' attention. Lead with impact. So really be strong with your story and that emotional connection, as I've said. These are the don'ts, though. Send extra attachments or jargon. So you want to keep your pitch in the email body and then attach your press release, but don't attach all extra things that are just going to get in the way and be confusing. So keep it quite simple. Don't chase up daily or guilt trip the journalist. You don't want to be that annoying person. It is okay to follow up once, but yeah, you don't want to be annoying them or being seen as a pest, because they're not going to want to work with you. You want to be friendly and open and helpful. So yeah, as it says here, one follow-up after 3 to 5 days is okay. That's acceptable, but multiple emails harassing them is not okay. They're not going to like that. And never pitch without understanding. So make sure, as I've said, you know about the publication, you know who the journalist is that you're talking to, you know their name, you know what they write about. Don't just send it out randomly anywhere, because it won't go anywhere. Make sure you have that connection with the journalist. All right, next slide. So these are some of the common mistakes. So treating PR like advertising. You don't want to send out a boring press release that sounds like it's written in corporate jargon. No one's going to connect with that. They want to hear your story. They want to hear about who you are and why you love what you do. It needs to be interesting and engaging. It shouldn't sound like an ad. Sending generic mass pitches. So just as I said before, just sending it out to every journalist you can think of. That's not the right approach. You are much better to have quality over quantity. So really thinking about who you want to be sending that press release to, which publications you want to be featured in, and then working with those and taking the steps and putting the time into finding the right person to contact and those sort of things, what their name is, and sending those things is much more powerful and valuable than just sending it out to lots of people and hoping for the best. And then ignoring timing or trends. So I don't know, if you had a Christmas business and you started sending stuff to people in January, they're not really going to pick up that story. So thinking about the timing and trends, different things happening in the world, your local area, your country, and sending press releases that align with those things are more likely to get picked up. And then failing to leverage existing coverage. As I said, if you've been featured in something, make sure you're sharing it everywhere, telling everybody, and you can reshare it multiple times as well. It's a really valuable piece of content that builds credibility and trust, and is also something that your friends and followers and audience are going to be excited to read about and learn more about your story too. So those are some of those mistakes to avoid. So just a bit of a recap. So earned PR, that's where you are sending your press release and talking about your story, and media is picking you up because they value what you have to say. Whereas paid PR, also valuable, but that's where you're paying for a place in a magazine or a newspaper or television advertising. Um, so you're guaranteed of coverage then, but it doesn't have the same level of credibility. I mean, it still does have that level of credibility because you've got the visibility there, but having your story picked up by the media is really powerful because it's more genuine than an ad or a promotion. Then we talked about the importance of your starting point, so really sharing your story and connecting with the journalist on a person to person, and then how you're going to connect with their audience of readers or watchers, listeners as well. And then the relationship. So your relationship with the journalist. I gave the example of Sylvia, who now they just ring her up. They're like, Sylvia, can you come in? We want to talk to you about what's happening in classrooms right now. Because she's spent that time investing in the relationship, sending thank you messages, always being available and reliable, and able to share a really unique perspective. Okay, questions. I will stop sharing now, and I'd love to hear from you if you've got questions or if you'd like to share examples of times that you've got in the media. And I know we've got some people here who have been in the media before, so if they'd like to share their experience. I know Nicola Baker's here. Nicola, if you want to jump in and say hi. She's got her camera off, so I'm not sure.
Hello, I am here.
Hi, Nicola. Nicola,
Just
I've been so impressed with the media coverage that I've seen you getting for the work that you're doing in your charity, Moya Moya. I'd love to hear a bit more. I'd love you to share a bit more about how you do it. How do you get shown up and featured in the newspaper and radio and things?
Thanks for the opportunity piece. I look, everything I've done with this community has turned into another story and another story and another story. And it's like you say, when you establish the connections with the people in the media that are interested and engaged with you,
Mm.
that's like gold. That's advertising gold because you know that they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, have you done that now? And what's next?" So pretty much everything you've said today is something that I've been doing since I became involved with this community. And for me, it's raising awareness of a rare disease. And the people that stop me in the street now and say, "Oh, that's you," which is really nice to see. So I just love it. It's great. And when you've got those relationships and they come back to you, I can tell you that last year I was named as one of 30 most influential women on International Women's Day. So for my area, so that sort of leads to bigger and better things.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. Congratulations, Nicola. So good.
Thank you. Good luck
Would
to everybody who's going to go into these awards. Absolutely make the most of it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Would anybody else like to jump in and either share about media they've had or a question that they've got about doing PR? Ruby, did you have a question for us or want to share? Hi.
Hi everyone. Well, I haven't really gotten too much into media just because I've been a little more camera shy. Like what I do to get exposed is I go to a lot of networking events, and I
Hmm.
have been a speaker before. They actually have created media for me, and I kind of just like repost. A lot of what I have done has been more professional on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Um, and that's kind of been how I have been able to do it. But I know that now for my company, it's called Porta Abierta. What I have been doing is I'm also trying to establish a social media presence as my target audience is on there. So I know I have to, kind of combat my social anxiety like on camera, because when I'm in person, I'm a natural. But I don't know why. It's just when it's a camera, I'm just a little shy.
Oh, well, you're doing so well today. This is a great start for you to be, showing up and speaking on camera. You're doing really
Mhm.
well.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
beautiful. And yeah, that's so good. So good that you are yeah, getting your word out more and more. It's amazing.
Mhm.
Well done, Ruby. Jenlyn, hello, how are you? Looking gorgeous.
Oh, if I can get unmuted. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I wanted to just say, Ruby, that you have lots of personality, and sometimes when you're shy, just imagine that you are in, like, before you go on, imagine the biggest room that you've been in, the most empowered that you've felt, the most inspiring, the most whatever it is that makes you feel like super confident. Just really set with that and breathe that in, and then have that record playing back here as you're talking and speaking. And you did beautiful sharing. And that's the authentic part. It's just authentically being you. So,
Oh, that is right.
yeah, I love it. I love it. And I use LinkedIn mostly, although I have been across all the different socials because I've expanded my business from doing human-centric business into human-centric branding, and now moving into human-centric film. So as I've gone across, that has changed where my presence was needed. And so I've been on LinkedIn for the last year, and I'm heading back over into Instagram and Facebook now because that's where I need to be. And so as I've crossed along and changed, I know that really communicating with your audience helps. And I've been featured like 10 times in the last 2 years, just simply based off of one article with one person that just keeps on saying, "Hey, you want an interesting story? Holler at Jen Lent, right?" And or around disability advocacy and things like that, because that's something that I also am very passionate about and outspoken about. So I think that it's really a part of just writing and speaking and being present as who it is that you really are. I just also released a book just yesterday. I had a book launch, and everybody kept saying it was so relatable. It was so relatable. How did you do that? And it wasn't something that was necessarily intentional. I just shared my very human story. And so then, therefore, it feels like to the audience, it's theirs too. And that's the power of story. And that's the power of your authenticity.
I love that. I love that. And congratulations on your new book.
Thank you so
That's
much.
exciting. Yeah, no, beautiful, beautiful. And thank you for yeah, thank you for that, Jenlyn. Amazing. Who else would like to jump in and say hi or ask a question? Anyone else want to jump in? Did anybody who's listening find it helpful? Were there things that you learnt from this session that you hadn't really covered before?
I'd like to jump in. I actually
Yeah.
did find it very, very helpful. As I mentioned, now that I'm really starting to grow, especially in my business, I realize the power of not just like networking, but like getting known, establishing your brand, your personal brand, your business brand, and just getting that trust, that credibility within your community. That's huge, and that's slowly what I'm starting to do, because originally I started my business over there in Orange County. I'm from California, but originally from the Bay Area. Now that I moved back to my hometown, I'm slowly, continuously working on growing my business. Hmm.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you are looking at all sorts of different ways to connect and promote and talk about what you're doing. Because you talked about the fact that you do a lot of networking, and that's really powerful. Those connections
Hmm.
can lead to all sorts of opportunities.
Yes.
And then you're also doing some speaking. So that's really cool as well. So that's a
Hmm.
great way to build your personal profile, but also build your expertise and be recognized as an expert in those spaces as well, and also be connecting with the audience. So I think, yeah, the way that you're putting all of that together now is a great way for you to get more visibility with your business and more opportunities and promotion too. So yeah, well done, Ruby. So good.
Thank you.
So
I know,
good.
and just one more thing to add. I was like, my good friend Inika, she actually, yeah, she's been very involved since last year. Her and I, we met at UC Irvine, and that's how we started, establishing our connection. And I know she did move back to the Bay Area, and she like I've seen her growth immensely. And she also recommended me to this because again, she was like, she has seen like what I have done, but it's been a lot of behind the cameras type of thing, because hence me being camera shy, because I'm very good at establishing connections and all that, more of in person, but I still have to, get a little bit out of like that fear mentality with filming and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I think you're well on your way, and I'm excited to see what's next for you, because you are a natural on camera. You're great at talking about what you do. The fact that you do public speaking, I mean, I could easily see you going into a television studio and being really natural in an interview with them. So yeah, I encourage you to get your press release out and
Thank you.
yeah, see what happens. Yeah, it's amazing. Thanks, Ruby. All right. There's some things in the chat here. Anne was saying, yes, she loved the 5 points at the end. Thank you, Anne. And Jasmine said, a very powerful session. Thank you, Jasmine. All right. Does anybody want to jump in before we wrap up? Any last want to say hi, ask a question? All right, well, we will wrap up now. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and good luck with the awards, and good luck with sending your press releases out to the media. I'm so excited to start seeing those media appearances happening, and make sure that you email us, email awards@thewomenchangingtheworld.com with any links or photos of any media that you get, because we will also share them across our platforms too, which also then helps your message be seen with our audience and wider networks too. Amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.